given the level of regional and international pressure, is it only a matter of time now before Yahya Jammeh steps aside?
I think we would have said that had he stepped aside earlier. I mean, this was an election that happened on December 1st. He agreed initially to step down on December 2nd, and then reversed course and said he was going to try and stay in power on December 9th. So since then, he's had over a month to change his mind. It's become very clear, well before today, that ECOWAS was set on getting him out, including through military force. So if he was going to step down, you would have thought it would have been earlier. That said, I understand there are still last-ditch negotiations happening, potentially involving Mauritania as a destination for Jammeh. And one must think that if he didn't believe the credibility of the military threat against him, he must do as Senegalese troops come across the border.
Now, there are reports that Yahya Jammeh actually fears for his own safety, and that is the reason he is not stepping down. Do you think there is any credibility to that?
Well, this is a man who's been in power for 22 years. In the course of his time in power, he's extrajudicially killed opponents, he's tortured them. I think he has, justifiable concern for his future. That said, the priority has been to create and find a diplomatic and peaceful solution to this. And Jammeh has been given assurances, I understand it, on several occasions, and still isn't stepping down. So I think more it's really a case of a man who's been in power for a long time, who has a lot of financial assets in the Gambia, being reluctant to give up his power and potentially his wealth.
What has the situation been like in terms of civil rights in Gambia following the election in December?
It's been very tense, is the first thing to say. We left Banjul late last night. We have many colleagues, many Gambian human rights activists who are still there. Since Jammeh reversed course and rejected the results, he's targeted people who are opposed to him. There was particularly a movement called Gambia Has Decided, a kind of social media movement with lots of young people who sought to push Jammeh out. Many of them have been arrested, some of them beaten up, and then unfortunately ultimately released. But he's clearly been trying to create this culture of fear that has caused many to flee and hope, in his eyes, to discourage people from resisting. That continues a long track record of using his security forces to try to repress independent journalism, political opponents. And our fear is that as this crisis comes to a head, he might revert back even more aggressively to those tactics that he's used in the past. So far, we haven't seen the sorts of abuses that we might have really worried about, killings and torture since he reversed course and said he would stay in power. But there's unfortunately still time. This is not over, and it's vital that we will remain very vigilant to watch for those kinds of abuses.